whatever we achieved in Blacklist International, I feel like is more than what we expected it to be, especially with the Mobile Legends team. I remember back in 2020 when we thought of just the concept of Blacklist International, parang not a lot of people believe na we can do it coming from a management to esports. And then looking back, right, like multiple championships, locally, world champion, top 3 most watched esports team in the world. Like, honestly, hindi ko talaga ever naisip na aabot kami dun. So, it was beyond like our expectations. However, looking at all of that, what I eventually realized was that hindi naman kami kasi proactively looking for an opportunity to sell, for the record. We were just open sa pag-receive ng potential offers, or we were just entertaining conversations. But when this business opportunity kind of like came, of course as a CEO you're obliged to assess like, eto ba talaga yung tamang path pa for the organization in the next 2 to 3 years, right? Like, ito pa ba yung gusto ng organization? Will the organization benefit from this? And the way we see it is, we saw it as an opportunity to reassess our position in the market, diba? Because you don't have a chance naman like every day to be able to exit a certain investment and then eventually reassess your position. So when that came to us, like parang ang naisip talaga namin was like, sige, this is the chance to technically reassess our position on the space. Ganun.
Considering what you said, do you still think esports is sustainable in the Philippines?
Yes, 100%. I fully believe in esports because don't misquote me on this because MLBB is not the esports scene, right? I'm not in a negative way. It's just facts, right? Like, MLBB is part is a huge part of the Philippine esports ecosystem, right? However, if you look into esports, there are other titles, right, that are part of the whole ecosystem. So I feel like what I'm saying is, in terms of esports kasi, if you're familiar with what's happening in the West, diba? Some of the valuations of, like Western organizations, all of these things are happening. Alam niyo yan. Like, if you're reading the news about what their take on esports is, it's all out there. However, I think the Esports World Cup, for instance, is such a shining beacon for esports because it provided a roadmap for the rest of the world to follow, di ba? With all of the titles that are there and all that. And with me kasi, sobrang importante talaga to understand the unit economics of each of, like the titles, and making sure that that title aligns technically to your long-term goals in terms of unit economics generally and vision, kumbaga. Nandun kami. So, pero esports in general, I think is good.
So, sa madaling salita ba, hindi na masyadong profitable ang Blacklist International? I mean, as lot costs, if I'm not mistaken, 40 million.
I'm not sure if I can say the exact number, pero this is what I want to clarify, right? For the record, the franchise slot of the MPL is basically a one-time buy, right? There are some comments that I see in the internet na parang, hindi na kasi kaya magbayad ng taon na to. Hindi ganoon eh. Like, you buy a slot, perpetually it's yours. Diba? Yun naman talaga siya eh. Pero maybe people don't know that. So, gusto ko lang muna i-clarify yung part na yun. You purchase a slot, that's it. Hindi siya parang every year kailangan mo magbayad na parang subscription model. Hindi siya ganun. Una. Pangalawa is like, in terms of profitability, no. I think Blacklist International, MLBB, on a per year basis, I think has good numbers. However, the question is, in terms of the long term, opportunity cost din kasi beyond the resources, diba? Kasi what else can we do? Obviously, the bandwidth of the company in terms of, like executing in MLBB requires a lot of things. Marketing, like operations, player acquisitions. And the reality is, pag nananalo ka, good. Pag hindi ka nananalo, hindi masyadong good. And it becomes a question of the returns, right? Kailan mo babawi lahat talaga yan and all that stuff. But for me, generally kasi, that's just something of a risk appetite generally from a business standpoint as a CEO. Pero ang take ko talaga dyan is, what opportunity can open up if you were to technically liquidate the slot? Diba? Kasi there are other esports titles that you can still come into, di ba? There are other stuff that you can do. And hindi naman kasi lagi na parang may time ka nga na kumbaga makakapag-reassess ng position mo. So parang hindi siya purely about a profitability conversation eh. It's really more about, for me, a reassessment of the position. Just to be clear on this, di ba? Just to give you like the math. For example, in a year, kumita ka, for example, ng X millions, right? You're considering only the cost of your OPEX sa isang taon. Sorry if I'm going business here, pero okay lang naman. Pero, di ba, sa isang taon, ang gastos mo, players, salaries, bootcamp, utilities, travel, buong marketing machinery nung company para suportahan yan, yung para mabuo yung fandom, di ba? Yung merch team mo, kailangan lahat yan bubuin mo para suportahan ng isang asset. Now, with that asset, after the kumbaga, revenue minus cost ng lahat ng asset na yan, isasama mo pa yung kailangan mo makuha ang returns dun sa franchise lot. Diba? So, yun yung mga numbers and math talaga na parte na kailangan mong i-assess kung, okay, kung mababawi ko ba to in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, ito ba yung gusto namin or gusto ba namin ilagay yung, resources namin and energy elsewhere. Parang ganun.
Like na-mention mo kanina na it's a huge factor that dapat manalo ka in order to earn profit. Yung second to the bottom finish nyo nung season 14, did that play any role in your decision to let go of the team?
I think hindi naman. I think it's just really it's because hindi naman bumitaw yung agents namin. And I think doon ako talaga sobrang thankful. Naramdaman talaga namin across the board that yes, obviously the numbers changed partly. Pero yung stickiness talaga nung viewership namin was always there. Until the end. Like, alam nyo naman yan eh. I mean, you can check out all the esports charts and whatnot kung paano nakadami pa rin yung nakasunod sa Blacklist International during the time. And I can say this na, di ba, bumaba man siguro yung number of fans, pero dumami din naman yung haters nun eh. So medyo nag-even up lang. Diba? So parang pumantay lang din sa dulo. Pumantay lang din sa dulo. Yung nabawas na fans, dinagdag ng haters, parang in the end, parang nag-equalize lang naman lahat. So for me, numbers wise, I think, cover naman yan. And ano naman eh, parang okay lang. Parang nakita ko naman, ang gusto ko lang sabihin is yung agents hindi bumitaw. Oo.